Hello and welcome to Andy's Cornish Creations. In this video I'm going to be turning a Christmas tree ornament in the shape of a gonk. This is a piece of walnut and I'm just parting it off there, and the height of the hat is going to be 65 millimeters and the diameter at the bottom of the hat will be 32 millimeters. Here I'm just using a spindle roughing gouge to get it to round, and I'm putting the gouge on resting it on the top of the piece, and that knocking sound lets me know that there's still flat spots on the piece, and I've got to carry on down a bit further. And once it stops knocking, then I know that there aren't any flat spots left. So now I've got a 20mm Forstner bit, and I'm going into what will be the base of the hat there to create a mortise for when I make the body of the gonk. I'll put a tenon on the top of it, and that will go into this mortise. There I'm just using a 3/8 spindle gouge just to flatten the bottom of the hat, and use the same gouge there to put a little round, a little bead on the bottom of the hat. I'll bring up tailstock support again and put it into the bottom of the mortise, because this piece of timber is hanging out quite a long way from the chuck, so it just gives it a bit of extra support. And now back with the 3/8 spindle gouge and just tapering the hat down to a point at the top where I'm going to put a little bobble. Just use a 1/2 inch skew there just to get in nice and tight to the bead. And then just gradually take the hat down to the top. Just removing a bit of material there. Ooh, little catch. And there I'm just going to start to form the bobble on the top of the hat. Ooh, a little reminder there to like and subscribe, and to ring the little notification bell. If you can do that now, that'd be great. Don't forget. Right, they're just about finished. I'm just using the 1/2 inch skew again, just to take out any high and low points, or take any high points out more likely, and it just evens it out so that there's less sanding to do. There I'm using a pointed scraper just to put a little line in so that I can put my burning wire in and burn a line into the hat just as a little extra feature. Now it's just a case of sanding from 120 down the different grades to 400. And this is the last piece of sandpaper, 400. And then I use a bit of cellulose sanding sealer just to seal up the wood and help it give it a nice shine. remove any excess sealer with a Scotch-Brite pad, and then I can move on and apply some of my abrasive paste. Turn the speed up, get a bit of heat on, but I do get a little bit aggressive with the pressure that I apply to it, and you can see here it spins off the very narrow bit at the top of the hat there. It's spun and broke off from the main body of the piece of wood. As it happens, it's not such a bad thing, because I'm going to be putting a little screw-in eye at the top to add a bit of add a hoop to hang it off. So it's not such a bad thing. Here, because I will still need to finish off the hat, I've put a bit of dowel in and just created a jam chuck so I can finish off the hat. So here again I'm applying the abrasive paste, just tighten the tailstock up there a bit. Handy, the jam chucks, when you're doing anything like this. Just a bit of spare wood and it does get the job done. Now I'm applying some wood wax, some of my wood wax, and both the wood wax and the abrasive paste and how to make them are in a couple of previous videos if you want to check them out. And they're just buffing it up with a clean-ish cloth, and just be careful with when you're using the cloth not to hold it too tightly in your hands, just in case it gets caught. Now I've got a piece of oak between centres, and again I'm using the spindle roughing gouge just to take it down to round. The eventual size of the body will be 37mm in diameter and 40mm in height. You can see there I've just put a little tenon on so that I could fit it into the chuck, and now I'm using an old mortise chisel to create a tenon on the other end that's going to fit into the hat. So that's going to go up into the hat, and I've just got to work on it, slowly taking it down until it's a nice tight fit into the hat. It's very close now. It's worth spending a bit of time, because if you get too carried away and it becomes sloppy, it'll still stick, but it's nice to get a nice tight fit. Right, I'm just marking off where the bottom will be, and using a thin parting tool just to part it down, part of the way down, so that I've got a good idea of where the body is. Again, I bring up the some tailstock support. See if I can get it. I always use a bit of tailstock support just as a added bit of safety. And I'm just giving it a sort of a barrel shape. Keep trying the hat on, because I want the top of the body there to be smaller than the rim of the hat. With hindsight, I'd probably make the rim of the hat a little bit wider in diameter, because when I do apply the fur, it's a little bit tight between the body and the hat. Here I've got a 6mm drill bit, and I like to drill the holes before I do any sanding, because if you get any little bits of tear out, the sanding takes it away and leaves a better finish if you do the holes before sanding. And there I did a little pilot hole with it's about a 3mm drill bit, and then go down with a 6mm drill. Now I'll sand from 120 to 400 again, and apply the abrasive paste, and some wood wax polish, just like I did with the hat. And then give it a buff with a clean cloth. And that's that done. Nice little nice polish on that. Nice piece of oak. So now I can part it off. So I'm going in with the thin parting tool, and I'm parting it, going in at an angle, so that it leaves the base slightly concave, so it when it's sat down it just sits on the outer edges and is nice and solid on the base. Here I've got a piece of paddock. This will finish up. I'm making the nose out of this, and the diameter of the nose will be 8mm by the time I've finished. So I'm just turning it around. Again, I'm using a spindle gouge, but this is the spindle gouge that I've put a slightly more pointed tip on it, just for finer work. It's quite small, this. And remembering that I did a 6mm hole in the body, and now got the spanner, sharpened spanner, which is 6mm, and I use that to create a 6mm dowel. And I know that if I use that method, I get a perfect fit every time with the dowel into the hole, and I don't have to check it or anything. It just works every time. Use sandpaper there, up to 400 actually. I did use a little bit extra one there. I think it was 600. Bit of wet and dry, and then I just go onto that with some abrasive paste, and I just buff it up on this one because it's so small. The abrasive paste leaves a nice enough finish just to leave. Now I've got the 1/2" skew chisel, and I just put a little chamfer on the bottom so that it helps me to put it into the hole, and there, parted it off with the skew chisel, and there you can see just slides in a perfect fit. Here I've got some white faux fur, and tend to make this as smaller than make it smaller than you think you're going to need, because it's surprising how much the fur spreads out. So this is only about 20mm wide and probably about 25mm deep. And when you're cutting it, get the cut it really close to the back of the material, so that you're not cutting through the fur, and then you're left with the fur hanging out. Otherwise, if you cut all the way through, you just cut off all the fur, and you've got no long strands of fur. Here I want a hole for the nose, so I'm just pinching it up in the middle, and I'm using a Stanley blade. Be very careful when you're doing this. Don't approach it quite the same way as I do, and you will finish up with a nice little hole so you can pop it over the nose, and eventually there it goes. You can just pop it over the nose, and it's all nice and neat. For some reason I missed out the filming of the sticking it on, so just stick it on whichever method you like best. Hot glue I find very messy, so I used a bit of super glue or CA glue, and CA glue the hat on. And this is where I think the hat would be better with a wider rim, and also you could slightly undercut it so it just goes, so it went over the fur a little bit more and sort of trapped it inside. As it happens, this one worked out alright, but you can finish up seeing the sort of top edge of the material, the backing material, but so it's safer to have a little bit more on the hat and it to sort of hang over the fur a little bit. So there we have it. Nice little project, quite simple. 2 different pieces of wood. This is a piece of walnut, this is a piece of oak, but of course you can do the same thing with whatever wood you've got. I've got a little bit of paddock as the nose. Don't look as red as I thought it would do, but hey ho, that looks okay. And a bit of white faux fur for the beard and moustache or whatever. Yeah, and it's the idea is, I haven't got them yet, they're supposed to be coming today, but they haven't arrived yet. A little screw-in eye will be going in that little hole on the top, and you can hang it off your tree. If you want to make it a little bit lighter, you could core out the body to make it a little bit lighter, but it's not heavy anyway, and it'll hang off a decent sized tree, so it's not a problem. And it's a bit tricky with the fur, getting it just right, but it's yeah, it's a fun little project anyway. So if you enjoyed it, give it that thumbs up. If you can share it, that'd be great. And if you haven't subscribed yet, if you could do, that'd be great. And ring the little notification bell that'll let you know when my next video is out. And leave a comment if you can. I do read them all. I'm a bit slow replying, but I'll get there eventually. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. And I think there'll be one more project before Christmas, and then I'll be off for the Christmas break. But thanks for watching. My name's Andy Paramore, this is Andy's Cornish Creations, and we will see you on the next one.